Stampers. Welcome to the first episode of Card Crazy Sharon. I am a fairly new Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. My name is Sharon Lake, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the U.S. Please visit my website at cardcrazysharon.stampinup.net to order any supplies you might see in this video. Today I'm going to show you how I made a couple of these cards from the paper pumpkin. They're just some little alternative cards, very similar to what is offered in the kit, but with my own little spin on it. Let me just give you a quick peek at what the cards were supposed to look like. They were very simple and actually very nice. They make up wonderfully just the way that they come in the kit. But often people like to put their own little spin on things, and this is my little spin. So you can see, I know that this has been done a few times, the little shirt and tie embellishment, but I thought that it went rather nice for Father's Day. So I have this one, and then I just did a little sunset scene here behind the die cuts and stickers on this card. So let's take a look at how we did those, and let's have some fun. So we're going to start out with this card, just kind of the way it came, and then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. This one actually is from the Tranquil Textures out of the new catalog. This piece measures 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. And then I have another small piece to use for the contrasting side. This one is 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 square. Then we'll just be using the little white badge and the crumb cake banner that came out of the kit. So with this particular little piece, I'm just gonna bring in our paper trimmer. And the first thing I'm going to do is put it right at 3/8 of an inch. And instead of using my cutter, I'm going to use the little scoring blade. That's this light gray colored one here. And I'm going to score that across. Then I am going to use my tear and tape, and I just need to grab my little I do apologize if my hands get off camera at all. I have kind of a little odd setup on this right now that I hope to improve shortly. It causes my workspace to be at an odd angle here right now. So this is a little trick that I learned from a wonderful lady that you can find here on YouTube named May. She has a channel called May Made It, and you can too. And she has some wonderful tips for paper crafters out there. So I just used my little tear and tape, and what I'm going to do is fold back and glue down this little area that we just scored, just like that. And then I'm going to bring my paper trimmer right back in. And we are going to cut in just a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch on each side. And I just kind of line this up so that the line on my paper is right in that cutting channel right there. So just make sure that I can see where my 3/4 of an inch is at here. Right here, and I'm just going to go 1/16 past that, and I'm going to lift up, bring my paper trimmer to this side, and do the exact same thing. Come in 3/4 of an inch, just go 1/16 past that, and lift up, and I'm done. Okay, so then I'm going to grab my bone folder. This is your one handy little tool here, and I'm just going to curl that paper up a little bit where that was cut, so that when I fold it in to make our shirt collar, it works out very nicely. And then what we're going to do is just fold the edges of the shirt collar here in until the collar meets. All right. And there we go. So there is our shirt done. Now we're just going to work on the tie. So with the tie, I'm going to use this contrasting side for the tie. So we are just going to fold inward so that we can be right on the center section there. And you can put a score mark or a pencil line there if that's what you need to do in order to bring that in. I'm actually, once I get these in, I cut mine off. Some people can leave them in there and that works great for them. I find there's just a little too much bulk for me when I do that. Okay, so once that's folded, we're just going to take a little section here and fold it down. Then I'm going to fold the section up and back down and around. So then I typically pull that around there. And this is where, for me, I begin to do some trimming. Because what you're going to do from this point is bring this section in and fold it to the center line there to make your tie. And that leaves a nice little knot on the front as your tie knot. So you can just see once I get that folded down, and then you would want to use your scoring tool, but you can see there you have your little knot and your tie. Because mine is so small, typically when you make the shirt cards, they're quite a bit bigger. This is very, very small. So for me, I just go ahead and I cut that first section off. So I cut right along that. Perfect. Okay. So now when I have my little tie on there and fold these in, I don't have quite as much bulk there to work with. And if I don't have this folded in perfectly and have my tie as narrow as it should be, I'm able to do that without all the bulk. And there we go. There's a little tie with a little knot. And then I'm going to get my trusty tear and tape one more time. I'm going to put that right along the top. That's going to help hold that little knot in place. Hold your tie seam in place right there. And this time I'm just going to give it a quick snip with my snips. All right. And I'm just going to burnish that tear and tape down with my bone folder. And then go ahead and pull that backing off. I'm sorry, I'm afraid that my hands are getting a little off camera there. There we go. So now I'm just going to place my tie right up here where the shirt collar is. Okay. And then I'm going to use a couple more little pieces of tear and tape here. Put under that collar to hold that down and in place. This is a pretty quick little alternative for your paper pumpkin kit, and so cute. When I made my first one, I showed it around to some people and got lots of oohs and ahs, because it doesn't matter how many times this shirt card has been made, it's still an eye catcher, and there's lots of people. I'm amazed at how many people out there have not received many or any handmade cards. And I don't know, when I get a handmade card in the mail or handed to me, that is my favorite. Just something about the fact knowing that someone sat down and took the time to make that for you. And also they're just so creative. So they turn out to be my favorite card almost every single time. So there's our little shirt. That's all made. Now we just need to stamp on our little banner here. And I've already made 2 cards here for the 2 dads in my life, my dad and my father-in-law. So now I'm going to make one for some other special men in my life. So this one will say, Happy Father's Day to you. So I'm going to start out with my happy, and I am going to go ahead and use the Mossy Meadow. And I don't have a ton of my full-size stamps yet because I was waiting to purchase the new stamp pads. So I'm just using my little Stampin' Spot for this. I'm going to line it up just at the very top. And you can see that I am using this little embellishment. It was meant to go this way. Because I'm putting it at the bottom of this card, I'm just using it the opposite direction here. So I put my happy there, and then I'm going to put my to you at the bottom. So let's just get that inked up there. And I'll line that up right along the bottom of my little badge. There we are. So happy to you, and now we just need to put Father's Day on the little banner that's going to go across there in the middle. And there's my Father's Day stamp. Now for us, I always like to put a sentiment on the inside of my card too. I know a lot of people just, add a little decoration and handwrite, and that's great. But sometimes I just like to stamp a little something in there. Gives me a way to start off what I'm going to write, because many times I feel tongue-tied when I sit down to sign a card. So what I have is this wonderful little stamp that comes in the Lots of Happy card kit. You can use, of course, anything that you have on hand. I thought that this one was really great. I'm not sure if you can see it. It says, "You deserve the best life has to offer." And who doesn't want to say that to the wonderful dads in their lives? Now, I am not seeing where this card bends. Oh, here we are. I'm glad I turned that over because I was about to stamp on the wrong side. That would have been horrible. Okay. So here we are. You deserve the best life has to offer. Awesome. Okay, so let me just bend up the bottom of the card here and give that a burnish there. And then we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals, and they did send the small size Stampin' Dimensionals with your kit. I find that I like to use the big size, and I had some left over from a previous Paper Pumpkin kit, so that is what I'm going to use. Let me just start with my little shirt. I put one Stampin' Dimensional right here at the top to kind of hold that shirt collar in there, and I think I used about 5 Stampin' Dimensionals on these. And the wonderful thing about this card is this is a gatefold card, and you can situate your little shirt here so that helps hold your card together, almost like a little matchbook, which is what I did. So let me just pull the little backings off here. And I always find when I'm pulling my backings off, it helps if I right towards the edge there, just give it a little poke with my fingernail, and that makes the edge of it just stand up, and I'm able to pull that off. So I situated my shirt here just a little bit low on this side. And when you go to close your card, because of where I put my dimensionals on the bottom, you can take this little lip, put right under the shirt there, and that holds your card closed. That's a nice little idea. Okay, so now let's give our little banner here some bends to it. So it has some dimensionals. I'm sure you noticed that they come with little score marks right here on the badges. They're just about 1/8 of an inch apart. They're really, really close, but it's just about the width of a dimensional. And so when I put a dimensional on here, it just helps it stand up from that badge just a little bit. So, so cute. I'm just amazed at some of the things that are in these paper pumpkin kits. Who didn't love the paper pumpkin kit from last month? You are my anchor. Oh my goodness. I love nautical themes. That was probably my favorite paper pumpkin ever. That one's also good for both masculine and feminine recipients with your cards. I actually was able to give away one of those little boxes right away to a friend of mine as a thank you gift for something, and she was absolutely thrilled with it. So, paper pumpkin. Paper pumpkin is the most wonderful thing. If you have not subscribed to Paper Pumpkin, please do so. It costs $19.95 a month. That includes the shipping. I believe there is tax on top of that. But like I said, it does include the shipping. It's a subscription. You get a new kit every single month. It's always a surprise. They're never the same. You get ink spots in every kit. The ink spots are always different, so you're able to accumulate, you know, all of the colors that we have. And they are just so much fun. There's a photopolymer stamp set in, I think, every kit. I have used these stamps for so many things. Here we have happy birthday to you, happy anniversary to you, thank you, you are my favorite, and all these that are in here. Thank you for all you do. This says all you do. Son, grandpa, husband, friend, nephew, uncle, brother, dad. And dad was actually in 2 different fonts there. And what a wonderful little stamp set. You never want to get rid of that. That's awesome. So, just going to put a couple of dimensionals across on this little badge here as well. Stick a couple there and one on the top or bottom there. Okay. And the reason that I didn't put one on the top is because you can actually make this matchbook fastening go either way. You can tuck it in behind the shirt or behind the badge, which is just awesome. So I just put this over far enough that the tails on my banner don't stick out. And you can actually fasten those down with glue dots if you don't like them. I think that they're absolutely fine the way they are. So the card is just cute as a button the way it is, but I have these metallic enamel shapes. These are being discontinued. They are discounted right now in the current catalog. So if you want them, grab them while you can. They actually just set this card off so nicely, I thought. I just put my little stars down here, 3 stars down along the side. Kind of helps reinforce the fact that we think the dads in our lives are all stars. Okay. And there we go. That is this card ready to go. So quick, so easy, and yet so adorable. So please give that a try. I'd be happy to see pictures if you happen to make the card up. That one actually, look at that, has a little 2-way closure, so that really holds that card closed. Anyway, cute little card. And now we're going to work on the one with the sunset and the die cuts. So for this card, we'll just go ahead and fold it on the score line there, the pre-done score line. I'll just give it a burnish there with my bone folder. So with this one, what I did was I grabbed my highest mountain here, and I don't know if you can see this, but when they die cut these are actually stickers, but the cut goes all the way across. So I was able to pull that out without exposing the sticker side yet. And lay this on my card so I can kind of see where I wanted to go with this. And then I used my 1-inch circle punch, and I just grabbed a sticky note here so that I could make a little mask. And getting as much of the sticky part as possible there. Just going to move that into my punch that out. And I have to tell you, it does not work on our fine designer series paper. It works a whole lot better than what it does on this cheap little, I think I got these little things from the dollar store. But anyway, I wanted to have my sunshine just kind of peeking out right there behind that mountain. So I'm just going to put that down there. And I'm going to, oops, I left my ink spot open. Let me just give that a close. And then I have one of the new stamp pads here, Pineapple Punch. I love the way these open, so much easier than the stamp pads that we used to have. And I have one of our little sponge daubers here. So I'm just going to dab that on here, and let me get some scratch paper that I can put behind my stuff here. So I just didn't want that full strength, so I gave it one little tap there, and then I started out low because I wanted my darkest yellow to be way down at the horizon and for it to kind of fade. And you can see I'm just kind of going in a circular motion, and I do want it right up against this mask that I put on here. So we'll get a little more ink on there, and then I'll just start on this side. One more time. There we go. And so I just kind of kept moving that very light yellow up and letting it kind of fade into nothingness. It was fun for me to be able to actually use the new stamp pads this time. I'd been dying to just use those on some kind of a project, and so here we are. All right, now I have another sponge dauber that we're going to use for the blue, so I'm just going to go ahead and close the stamp pad. And I will tell you on these new ones, the slide feature, because they're very tight, the first few times you use it, those are very, very stiff. After you slide it back and forth a few times, they become a lot easier. But I just love the way that they click close like that. So easy. All right, and now you can see I've not had my blueberry bushel open very many times yet. It's still quite stiff. I'll just give it a couple of slides. Loosen up. There we go. That's a lot better. Okay, let me grab my other little sponge dauber because I didn't want to cross color on these things. And I just started towards the very top with the darkest part of the blue. I gave it a little stamp off, and then I'm just kind of swirling my blue on. I'm not trying to make this look super stormy, although if it comes out that way I won't, won't be terribly upset. But I'm just kind of wanting to feather that blue down to where it meets the yellow. So actually with these two colors, this could be either a sunset or a sunrise, but I do know that it just adds so much character to this cute little card. Now we're just gonna peel the mask off. Oh, let me close up my ink pad. Slide that back open and click it closed. All right, and get rid of my scratch paper here. Okay, now I'm just gonna lift off that mask. Now, when we get our little stickered embellishment now to put on the card, you'll just see how wonderful that looks. Of course, now that I made it so much harder to get the backing off by peeling it the way I did, I'm gonna fumble around trying to get that loose in front of you. There we go. All right, so just set that aside. And now we just want to line up this little die cut sticker on the card there to go across. And you can see that that little sunshine just kind of settles right back there, right behind that first mountain line. Okay, so now, let's see, where did I put my mountain stickers? Here we go. Now we're going to grab that next mountain line and put that on. I'm just going to set my card down here against the table so I can get that lined up right there at the bottom of the card. Okay, and then our green horizon line back here. We'll stick that down. And again, I used my larger size dimensionals on the back of the treescape here. And I put 4 of those across. I did used to have some wonderful little tweezers that helped me pull these things off so nicely, and I'm glad that they come off. I've used other brands that are so hard to get off. These ones are not really hard at all, thank goodness, because without my tweezers around anymore, I struggle with that, probably because of my fingernails. I don't know. So now you can see, isn't that just beautiful? Look at that nice little sunset right behind the horizon there. It just looks lovely. And I really liked using the brown badge on this particular card because it kind of reminded me of the highway signs, you know, like Route 66 kind of thing. Anyway, just very, very cute. And I had actually thought about using my blueberry bushel to stamp the greeting on here, but since it's up so high, I just thought it was nice to pull the green back up onto the sentiment there just to kind of balance out the card. So let's see, I know I have my little, there it is, my little sunshine ray things here. And when I put these on, I found for me that it was easier to turn my badge upside down and just to line up that point with the center area right there on my badge. And you can use the grid on your paper here as well to do that. That way I was able to get it right towards the top and straight on and know I had it just in the right place. I always just let it sit there for a second and let the ink soak in. Okay, and now I'm going to turn that around and stamp the word adventure right down towards the bottom. While we're at it, I have to tell you, I absolutely love these weighted acrylic blocks from Stampin' Up. I had always used cheap little acrylic blocks before, but I don't know if you can see this, but they have a nice little ergonomic groove. They make it so easy to pick up. They're so solid when you're pressing down. They're beautifully and clear, so you can see right through them, know exactly where you're stamping. I love those, absolutely love those. All right, so now I'm just going to put "You Are My" on the white banner here. See if I can get that right in the middle. I might have just stamped that incorrectly before I laid it down. Oh, actually, it looks good. Yay! Okay, so now I'm just going to put my little folds in here again so I can get the dimension on my banner. Let's see, fold it like that on both sides maybe. Give it a little burnish. My bone folder is my friend. I use that for everything. Sticking down adhesives and burnishing that down like the Terran tape, and also for folds. And it always amazes me that you'll fold something and it just looks like the most horrible fold. And then you go over it with the bone folder and it smooths out all the wrinkles and makes everything just look perfect. Okay, so there we are. You Are My, and I just need a couple of dimensionals behind there. I'll stick 2 of those down. And I forgot to poke at it with my fingernail, so it's just a little bit harder that way. Now it pops right up. Okay. You Are My. Perfect. And a couple of dimensionals on the back of that. We'll put one down towards the bottom. And a couple here towards the top. Okay. And there we go. So, You Are My Adventure, and I just want to bring that in far enough here that the banner doesn't hang over the edge of the card. Give that just a good press there to make sure that's all stuck down. And then the one thing I did was I also used a heart from my metallic enamel shapes, and I put right down here at the bottom of that. And I thought that just set that card off. On the inside, I stamped also some greetings on here, but actually all that it really takes is this sentiment. And this one came with your card kit, with your paper pumpkin. I love you. You are my adventure. I love you. Perfect. Love that. Hope you enjoyed my alternatives to the paper pumpkin. Here they are again. Remember, any of the supplies that you see on here today, you can buy on my website. My website is www.cardcrazysharon.stampinup.net. If you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I'm just getting started. I'm trying to accumulate a nice customer base. I would be over the top to be able to help you out with supplies. Please visit my website. Like I said, my email is sharonlake.comcast.net if you'd like to drop me a line or talk to me about anything. I'll also try and put that below in the notes below the video. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching my very first video. I'm so excited to get started in this. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye.